people need to know who we are, not some cookie cutter clip art that you pull from Google or whatever the case is.
Whatever.
Who are we as a practice? You know, who are we as individuals? We like to have fun. We like to, be in an inviting office and treat each other like family. And we want our patients to know that that's what they're going to experience every time they come in.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host. Welcome to a special episode of Growth in Dentistry for our Practice Growth series. I'm Katie Polson.
And I'm Adam Smith.
And we are glad to have you. For those of you that are first-time listeners to our episodes here with our deep dive, we're really just trying to go really in depth on practices and see what they do that makes a difference. We're talking to some of our top practices based off of data and metrics, and data is only one piece of the story. So we want to kind of back in the corner and see, like, really dive in and see how they accomplish these great performance KPIs. So that being said, if you are if you have listened before, first of all, thank you. For our 5 listeners, we really appreciate it. Adam's shaking his head. And also, if Facebook is your thing, please find us on our dental intelligence community. We've got some awesome information for you there, and there's a lot of other data nerds. So if that's your thing, join us there. And also, if you aren't a current customer and you want to be one, because why wouldn't you? You have a great giveaway for those that are listening to the show. You can go to get.dentalintel.net/podcast to get $50 off when you complete a demo. And I will make sure that information is in the show notes. So without further...
Not $50 off. It's $50 gift card.
Sorry, gift card. I said it wrong. Yeah. This is why I have my boss on the show with me. So he makes sure that I say things correctly. Anyway.
No purchase necessary. So not $50 off.
Yeah, just come see the product, see how it works with your practice. That being said, those kind laughter really is what it is. It's going to be a fun hour, but we've got Clermont Family Dentistry with us on the show today. Nicole and Tito, give us a background. Tell us who you are. What do you do in the practice? And tell us a little bit about Clermont Family Dentistry.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Sure. I'm Nicole Sperone, and we are Clermont Family Dentistry. We're located in Clermont, Florida. This practice has been here for 10 plus years. We have 3 amazing doctors here. I actually was born and raised in New Jersey, and I did not study dentistry until I came down to Florida. And I've been in the dentistry world for about 5.5 years now. Tito is my amazing office manager. And he's wonderful at what he does. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
So my name is Tito Albino. Like Nicole said, I am the practice administrator here. I have been with the practice for a little over 3 years. I have been working in dentistry for almost 13 years now. I started in the medical field as a medical assistant, accidentally got into dentistry. I started working at a community health center, and I worked every single department but dental. And an opportunity arose where I was able to be a part of a pilot program with the ADA. They paid for all of my schooling, and I was super fortunate for that. And here I am 13 years later, loving dentistry, love what I do. Unfortunately, I was an expanded function dental assistant in Philadelphia. And then when I moved here to Florida, I heard that my expanded functions duties weren't allowed here. So nope. I couldn't fill fillings and do all the expanded stuff that I'm used to doing. So I was a little bored going back to just regular assisting. And then I got into management, and I've been fortunate enough to work here at this practice where our practice owner, Dr. Bouchel, has been super fortunate, super generous per se, to give us all the tools that we need to be successful in our practice as leaders. And, one of the tools that I was introduced to early on for metrics and things like that to coach me through was dental intel. So super excited to be here and super excited to just dive in and show you guys what we've been able to implement in our practice to be successful.
Yeah, so great.
Awesome.
I know.
I love to have you guys here.
I know, I am too. And I love that you gave credit also to making sure that I mean, the doctor has given you the tools that you need to be successful, because there's so many people out there who are listening that, they want to be able to recreate some of the stuff that maybe they've heard on previous podcasts or they're going to hear today. And so glad that you guys have that. Okay. So let's
very, very fortunate here.
Yes.
Wouldn't be where we were today without him.
And also, I just background. So I met these two at ADOM. So if you've not been to ADOM, their annual conference, this year it was in Phoenix. This is my first year going to it. It's unlike any other dental conference I've ever been to. It was really, really cool. And I just met these people dancing. That is how I met them. We were dancing.
Very true.
And then I was like, hey, and they're like, we love dental until I'm like, oh, you do? Great. Do you want to be on my show for an hour? Yeah. So that's how that happened. So if you do come to ADOM, you might want to steer clear of me, because I'll rope you into being on a podcast for an hour.
Hey,
but
no, we were chomping at the bit. So
listen, all of you guys with your jumpers and
I know all of the men. I think we talked about this last time, but for those of you that didn't hear it, all of the men were wearing. I went with 4 sales guys and me. So I was the lone read and the lone woman. But they were all wearing overalls.
Overalls. Yeah.
Overalls, yeah. They were fun. They took it in stride. They were fun to be around. Anyway, okay. So let's get back to your practice. So you guys you have 4,600 active patients for 3 dentists.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of patients. And the average growth, and I'm just going to explain it for people that don't use dental intel or maybe aren't familiar with it. But when we say growth rate, where I pull this number is I'm pulling it from our new patient growth chart. But really what it is it's looking at your new patients, the patients that you've reactivated. It's been longer than 18 months since they've been in. And then also it takes away the patients that you've inactivated or the ones that have fallen off. And it's been longer than 18 months since they've been in. And so typically, I mean, the goal is to see that chart and those numbers go up and up. And your active patient base it has increased by 180 per month every month, which is a lot. I mean, you're getting new patients, and then you're also retaining them, or you're getting them to become reactivated. And so I would imagine, and I probably don't even have to ask, but you guys are probably busting at the seams in your practice. You probably don't have anywhere to put people. You're doing a lot of dancing between what room should what room should we put so-and-so in? So that being said, walk us through.
Wait,
go ahead.
Hold on one second. I want to highlight really how amazing this is, because when you're at 4,600 active patients, if you're reappointing at 90%, which is good, you're losing still a huge number of patients at that size of a patient base. So the fact that you're still growing at total 180 patients per month is crazy.
Yeah.
That means either you're at like almost perfect retention, or you've got a lot of reactivation happening, or you've got a ton of new patients coming in the front door. So let's dive into that a little bit more as we get further on. But if I'm a brand new startup and I say I'm growing at 180 per month, great. Like that's normal. That's not factoring any attrition. So the fact that you're as big as you are and still growing at that rate is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, let's get. I mean, we can get into that. Do you think it's new patients? Do you think it's reactivation? Is it a combination of both?
So I would say it's definitely a combination of both. On average, we're having about 150 to 160 new patients coming in. We have an amazing community of patients where we barely do any marketing. A lot of our new patients is coming in from word of mouth, from our reviews, from patients who are going into our local community Facebook page and shouting us out, and anyone asking for any referrals for dental offices. Like, we're just, popping up constantly where patients are just recommending our office. But Nicole, can dive into just the reactivation as well. She is phenomenal in just like making the phone calls, working through dental intel, calling those patients, doing a consistent follow-up to just get patients to come in and reactivate. We might not get them on the first try, but we're going to keep trying. You might not get them on the second. You keep trying, and it might be the third one, third time's a charm. And sometimes I'm running a report and I'm like, wow, this patient hasn't been here in a while, but they're scheduled, and we got them in. So she's been really great at taking on that task and doing a lot of those reactivation calls, but also working with the team to train them and allowing them to have during downtime to get on and do those calls to follow up with patients and get them back in through the door.
Yeah, awesome. So
That's
Nicole,
awesome.
walk us through, how are you getting patients to stay?
Yeah, it starts from the very beginning. It really is a team effort, and we try to have a well-oiled team here, but we always have our days, but it starts from the minute that patient walks in the door, steps foot into this office. We have a system here. It's our 222 system. So it's our 2-day, 2-week, 2-month follow-up. So the patient comes in for their first, full comprehensive exam. They get their treatment plan. If they don't schedule right then and there, we have a treatment tracker, that we use. And we follow up with them 2 days. If they don't schedule then we follow up with them again in 2 weeks. If they don't schedule, then we follow up with them in 2 months. If after that they don't schedule, most of the time we're going to inactivate them until they're ready. We don't hound them on a daily basis. We just try to keep the treatment fresh in their mind. Dental intel is really amazing when it comes to the follow-up lists. We utilize those a lot. We have in our downtime, we shoot for an average of 5 phone calls per hour through dental intel. So say on a fluke day, we have somebody who no-shows their appointment. We have an assistant available for an hour. We really try to get them on there to make those 5 calls, at least try to contact 5 people to get them back in the door. We're really big on, we don't want people coming in the front door and leaving through the back door and we never see them again. Dental intel has their pie chart where they keep track of, 0 to 6 months, how long the patient has not been seen in our office. So we try to keep the 18 plus months at a minimum, a bare minimum. In free time, I try to really knock that list out and contact those patients. And in that pie chart, if I try to call them and I leave a message, I don't get a hold of them, I inactivate them because they have been over 18 months since they've been in our office, just to keep our numbers up to date too, So
Yeah,
at least
like
we
that.
know how many active patients we actually have.
Yeah.
And it doesn't throw us off either.
I don't want to throw you off here, but I want to pause there for just a second on that, because I think there's a lot of practices who that's really scary to them. They
Yeah.
feel like if they inactivate their patient after 18 months that they'll, I guess, lose them forever. I don't, and they
Yeah.
might. They sounds like they kind of already have. But what that does is it creates really great data. And we say at Dental Intel, we say all the time, bad data in is bad data out. And so like you really have, when we say you have this many active patients, you know exactly how many you have because you're keeping a very clean record of who has been in the last 18 months because you
Yeah.
are inactivating them. Yeah. That's
And
pretty
it
awesome.
also kind of it holds you to the process that you have of trying to get them back in. Like I'm not going to mark someone inactive if I haven't gone through all the steps to try to get them back in, right? And
Yeah.
so the fact that that's one, like the final step on it, ensures that you've done all the steps beforehand, because
Yeah.
no one wants to just go in and be like, well, inactivate.
Oh, well,
right?
yeah, no.
Yeah, again, it comes down to the follow-up system and making sure that we've done everything on our part to keep in touch with the patient. They're getting reminders from our Modento system where, hey, it's been a while since you've been in. So they're getting the text message, you're getting personal phone calls from us. So we've tried every single avenue. So it's not just like we're running the report and we're just forgetting about them.
We exhaust all of our options
Yeah.
possible.
What I would advise for anyone, watching or listening in is that if you're just starting with dental intel, you're not going to go into your report as soon as you get your dental intel and say, oh my God, this is like so many patients over 18 months. How am I going to inactivate them? Don't inactivate
No.
them. You start the way we started when we really dove into dental intel is we took that as a fresh start. Okay, they may have not been in here in 18 months, but we're going to start from the beginning. Let's make that initial follow-up. We'll follow up in 2 days. We'll follow up in 2 weeks. We'll follow up in 2 months. Then we'll inactivate them. So we're still giving them way more enough time, even beyond that 18 months realm that they haven't been in, just to clean things up. And then when you get to that point of 18 months, it might have just been something that we missed along the way, that we forgot to, or missed following up maybe at the 2 months, and it just went into the 18 months.
Yeah.
We still make that call, but initially that would be my suggestion. Start with the 2-2 system from the 18 months.
That is such good advice, because I mean, for those of you that have used at least our analytics portion, it's really easy to log in first and get extremely overwhelmed quickly, because we give you it's like, I liken it to going to, like, you need a full mouth reconstruction, right? And you walk in and the doctor just spits it out at you, and like
it's information overload.
Yeah,
it
totally
really is.
And so I love that idea and that practice of just starting fresh day one, like where you are now, and then go forward. It's such
And I will
good
say,
advice.
it's when we first got it and we first were exposed to it, we were not crazy over it. We were just like, this is overwhelming. This is a lot. It will take some time. You have to trust the process. You have to take things into bite sizes. Don't get into it and think that you have to tackle it all at once. Do it in bite sizes, get comfortable with it. And then you see how, it's beneficial for the practice to have it and utilize it and do the follow-ups. And then it just becomes part of the practice protocol.
Yeah.
I love that. That's one of my favorite books. I've read it probably 6 or 7 times, called The Power of Habit. And he talks about, making those incremental changes, right? I think he says, like, getting 1% better each day over the course of this time frame is significantly better. So like you said, when you turn that on, you don't have to, like, okay, I'm changing all of these things at once, right? Figure out what's going to make a big impact and focus on it until you get the process right. And I would bet, I haven't seen your numbers yet, Katie can tell me if this is true, but because you focus so much on keeping patients out of that 18-month, I bet your reappointment rate is phenomenal as well, because you have a system in place to know who makes it into those categories, and you want to stop it, right? You're focusing on that reappointment, making sure that people are coming back into your office. So
absolutely,
I love that. Just take the bite sizes.
And that's what I learned early on coming into management. I was brand new into it. And my first year, I became manager here in May, and that was my first time managing. I went to my first ADOM conference that September, and I came back with like information overload. And I was like, oh my God, I have so many great ideas. And I just like spilled it on the team. And I'm like, this is what we're going to try. This is what we're going to try. And it was overwhelming for the team. And it was
shut down.
Like, they really just shut down. And here I am, a rookie, thinking like, this is great. And everyone was like, and I was like, what do you mean? And it was like, it brought me down so much. But then I kept going to the chapter meetings, and I went to the next year conference, and I learned that from one of the speakers that I listened to. And they just said, do it in bite sizes. Go in, implement one idea, let your team master it. Then you go on to the next one. It's kind of the same thing. You can't just expect everyone to do it all at once. Do it in bite sizes.
It's great advice.
It really is good advice. Okay. I want to, before we move on, and if you have anything else to add based off of, like, if we didn't hit on it, but I do want to back up just a little bit again to, like, what made you decide 5 phone calls per day? What was that? Or did you just choose a number, which is fine if that's what it is?
We just pulled it out of thin air.
Okay, that's awesome.
So we try, like, we've done a lot of, when it comes to training, I've tried my best. I'm no pro, but I try to share my knowledge of dental intel as much as I can with the team. And that's kind of how it was at first. Everybody was a little standoffish. They didn't want to do it. So we started at 10. And then once we got that, we were like, no, okay, let's back it down a little bit. Like,
okay.
It's really just getting the team comfortable. Yeah. Some of the clinical team are not used to making phone calls or being comfortable doing it. So it was like 5. It's a nice happy medium to just get them comfortable with first using dental intel, getting used to the navigation, and then making those phone calls and then not being overwhelmed with the follow-up that follows through afterwards.
So you have your entire team calling 5 people a day.
Oh, everyone. If
Everybody.
you have
Everyone.
downtime and you're caught up with everything, you're logging into
We
Dental
have
Intel and
We have
we're making phone calls.
22
22 team members.
22 team members, and every single one of them has their own login to Dental
Tell me what that is, Adam. 5 times 22.
Intel.
I mean,
Listen.
150.
Math isn't my strong point, but
It is Adam's. That's why I asked.
there you
So,
go.
that's a lot of phone calls. That is a lot of phone calls for one practice to be making, and you've like disseminated and made the work light for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be a team effort. It has to be, you can't just say anticipate, oh, phone calls, that's just for the front desk.
It's
It
not
should
the
just be
front's
them.
job.
It's a team effort, clinical team, whether it's hygiene or dental assistant, they're also the ones making that contact with the patient. They're building those personal relationships. You're working in the patient's mouth. They're trusting you. So if a hygienist is getting on the phone and making those phone calls and, being personal with the patient, like, hey, it's been a while. Like, I just want to check up on you. What's going on? Like, what can we do to get you back in here? It's someone that cares for them. It's not someone at the front office who is just like, hey, because they look at the front office as what? Money.
Mhm.
So, oh, you're
Yeah.
just trying to get me in there because you want my money.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, a clinician, whether it be a hygienist or a DA, like they really care about me. They really want to see me in there.
What's even great about it is we've kind of expounded upon, like, some people don't like making those phone calls, but with Modento, you can send those text messages out as well.
Yeah.
So you can send.
So that's one of them too. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you can send personalized text messages because some people don't like to talk on the phone. That's
Yeah.
fine. But at least they're still making that attempt to the patient. And who doesn't? Everybody texts
Everyone's
these days.
texting, everyone's looking at their phone. yeah.
Everybody has their phone on them. So sometimes more recently, we've been getting more responses from the text messages than we have leaving voicemails on phones.
Yeah, that's in line with what we see across
Mhm.
our
Yeah, so if
entire
you have
company,
team
so-
members, if you have team members that are not comfortable with phone calls, have them formulate a text message that's very generic and where they can literally have it in a notes in their screen on their desktop,
We can copy and paste it.
copy and paste, put the patient's name in there, send it out, watch the magic happen.
Watch that magic happen.
So
That's awesome.
I think there's a lot of offices that would like to be better at this than they are.
Yeah.
I know because I've worked with a lot of them, and so that was a good piece of logistics, but walk us through the logistics of having 20 plus people logging in and making contact with the patients. Like how is all of that set up to ensure that we're not stepping on each other's toes, that we're calling the patients that are going to know us? Have you built all that out, or is just log in and call or contact 5?
So what's great is, Dental Intel, it tracks who's calling. It tracks when you're logged in, it tracks who you're calling and what you call. So you leave notes with everything, and the notes sync into, so we use Dentrix. It syncs straight into Dentrix, into the office journal. So when you're calling somebody, we always say, pull up Dental Intel and have Dentrix open right next to it, so you can pull up the office journal and see if anybody has contacted them for the day. We work off of, whether you want to create your own list of Dental Intel, whether you want to work off of one of the lists that's already, prefabricated through Dental Intel for you guys. You can see who's left notes and see who's already been contacted, so you guys aren't recontacting.
Yeah.
And don't get us wrong, it's not 22 people calling all at once,
Right.
Yeah, so that kind of makes it a little easier, but you can, with Dental Intel and Modento, they do a fantastic job at tracking, and they make it really, really easy for us to keep track of who we have contacted. So,
And it makes it very personable when we're leaving those notes and we know who made that contact, because if they're calling back and it's someone, myself or someone at the front office answering the phone, we quickly pop open that office journal and we're like, oh, looks like Nicole, called you. She wanted to follow up on, getting you scheduled. Did you want to speak to her directly, or can I, assist you with anything? So you're giving that option to the patient. Like, do you want to speak to Nicole? We'll get her on the phone, if that's what you're comfortable with, or whatever the case is. 9 out of 10 are going to say, no, if that's what it is, let's go ahead and get something scheduled. And they'll just go ahead and schedule it with our front office coordinators.
That's really
That's
great.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
it's working. It's clearly working based on
Yeah.
your active patient count and your growth. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
congrats to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The other piece of this, like, crazy amount of growth in active patients is the new patients that you guys have. And he had mentioned that you don't do any sort of marketing, word
No.
of mouth and through Facebook, other Facebook community changes. Do you guys post on social media or anything do you have social media that you use?
Sometimes we make fools out of ourselves on social media.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We do. Our social media really is more, I barely do anything marketing. Sometimes I'll throw something in there,
But
that has
it's
to do
just
with
for fun.
marketing.
You're not like boosting any
It's-
posts or anything like that.
It's showing
Okay.
the uniqueness of our practice, who we are. I mean, today we had a fun day where everyone brought in their favorite snacks and we took a picture with all of our snacks. I brought in Kona ice to park at the back of our building, and everyone went out at lunchtime and got some Kona ice. I did a fun little video just showing, the office treat that we surprised them with, and
Yeah.
that's really just what we do. And I
Okay.
think that that's important as well, because most offices, when I came in, I will say we had a marketing team and everything was very generic. If you look at our social media, you can go back into it and see at what point I took over. And I said, no, I just want people need to know who we are, not some cookie cutter clip art that you pull from Google or whatever the case is.
Whatever.
Who are we as a practice? Who are we as individuals? We like to have fun. We like to, be an inviting office and treat each other like family. And we want our patients to know that that's what they're going to experience every time they come in.
Yeah. One thing I did social media for my practice for a little over a year. And I was really wary of, before we were using a solution that they would send us, right? These posts, right? And we didn't really boost much of our effort there. But the main thing, and it sounds like you're doing this and you just did it organically. And it's something that I think is important for people to think about, is to think of your Instagram or your Facebook or your social media as an extension of your website. And so that people can understand who you are. It's an easier way to do it. And there's got to be somebody, I mean, it shouldn't be a full-time job for somebody in your practice, but somebody who likes social or who's comfortable posting on it, right? To just, hey, it's your job. When we have Kona ice, come take a picture and put it on social media, right?
Yeah.
I love that idea. It's a great one.
Shows the personality of the practice.
Yeah.
But one interesting piece to me, I've done marketing for a lot of dental practices, and every single practice that I work with and have worked with wishes that they could get more customer referrals, patient referrals. And it sounds like you've got that dialed in. So
one thing our office, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I'm going to. No. One thing our office really prides ourselves on is everybody in our office understands our offices and our boss, his core values. And we really pride ourselves in proving to the patients that we stand next to those. And that's who we are as an office. So you come in that front door and, that's, I think, what we're so happy about is that most of our referrals are word of mouth. And it's not, we're paying a marketing company to get us people through our front door. Yeah. No, it's actually patients of ours that have such a good experience and are so happy to come here, that are referring their family and their loved ones and their friends to our office so they get the same care. And that's, I mean, to me, that's huge. That's huge.
We make it fun as well to reward patients for the word of mouth. So we do a quarterly giveaway for our patients. Right now, I'm going to be posting a video either tomorrow or Monday, where we're giving away ice cream maker, and that's our quarterly giveaway. But we have a whiteboard here in our reception area where every month we run a report of patients who were referred by other patients, and we put their names on the board. So and so referred so and so, And when they come in, it's so exciting when they come in, they're like, hey, that was me. Oh, she scheduled an appointment. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a fun little thing that we do with the patients to keep them engaged. And then doing a fun video as well, where we're drawing a name for the drawing of whatever we're giving away.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you say you've got, I mean, and just to give reference, because when we say new patients, I don't think we've said, but you guys on average get 130 new patients a month. So that's a lot, especially through word of mouth. So will you walk us through like what it looks like to be a new patient in your practice? Like what is the process from start to finish, and why are they referring? Maybe it'll give us a better idea of why they would want to refer.
Yeah, you talked about those values and how obvious they are. So I'd love to hear how those come through in the appointment. That because I've seen people set up these same things that you're talking about, as far as like a quarterly referral giveaway. They'll even ask for referrals, and they don't ever get it off the ground. So something else is going on aside from just a cool referral program. So let's hear that.
So I know Nicole stated like it starts from the moment they walk in through the door, but it really starts when they make that initial phone call. We have like our front office, they're super pleasant on the phone. When they come in, they are already looking forward to who's greeting them at the front. You know, I have Anthony who's at our check-in, and I'm constantly hearing, you must be Anthony. I spoke to you on the phone. Thank you so much for helping me. You were so pleasant. And, you know, or vice versa for whoever's sitting at the front. Like they're always, if it wasn't Anthony and they spoke to Marisol or Stephanie, like they're asking for them. Like, I just want to say thank you for getting me in so quickly. You were so helpful on the phone. Oh my God, you went above and beyond. But again, they're being greeted with that same experience that they had on the phone, with the pleasant smiles of our front office coordinators greeting them at the front desk by name. You know, they already, what the beautiful thing with Modento is like they're already pre-filling out their forms. They're uploading a photo. So we're already looking at that photo before they come in. We know who they are walking through that door. Hey, Mary, how are you? And they're like, they're taken back, like, you know who I am. And, you know, going back to the mission, vision, and core values of the practice, I literally have it posted in our waiting room. So as you're checking in, our mission, vision, core values is posted right there at the check-in counter, just letting our patients know this is who we are, this is what we stand by. It's what our website is based off of. It's the first thing you see when you go on there is our mission, vision statement. And we live by it. We want to be a fun practice, you know, that you come into and we treat you like family. We want to be the pillar of the community. We want to continue growing and having our patients be an experience and an extension of our family here in our practice. And we're super grateful for our patients to allow us to get to the point where we are now, getting ready to open up a new practice next week. So it's super rewarding to see where we were and where we are, and just based off of the tools that we've been able to have and build the practice to where we are today.
Is this a second location or a new location?
Second location, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then, you know, beyond that is this the clinical team. You know, we have a morning huddle every morning. We know what we're preparing for every single patient. You know, there's anything that needs to be catered to the individual patients. Patients barely wait 5 minutes here before they're called back. Sometimes they're getting ready to sit down and their butts don't even hit the seat, and someone is opening the door like, you know, come on back. And they're just like, you know, it's just how efficient we are and just giving them that experience. And from the moment they're bringing them back, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm going to be your dental assistant for today. I'm going to be taking care of you, and just carrying on that conversation into the operatory, getting personal with the patients. Clinical notes are super important as well, because, you know, once the doctor comes in, you know, clinical notes are written in, and he's already like, oh, you know, I hear you have a wedding coming up. And it's just the communication and how personable we make it for the patients, and it's with the tools we have, really goes a long way.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Where do you, oh, go ahead, Adam. You're good.
Yeah, my main question was, sounds like a lot of that is like personality of the practice, personality of the people who they're dealing with. As far as the clinical side of things, do you do anything out of the norm or do you feel like you do anything out of the norm compared to like a typical new patient visit that another office would have, or is it just we're just friendlier all around?
I would say in the 13 years I've been working in dentistry, I've never worked with a practice that has the knowledge and skills and personalities of the dentists that we have here. They are one of a kind. They all jive together. They are they have the same core values in how they treat their patients. They truly stand by telling the patients, you know, we treat you like family. If I wouldn't do this on my family member, I'm not going to do it on you. And they verbally do that. They have that warm, welcoming, nurturing feeling. If they hear this podcast and they hear me say that, they're gonna be like, yuck. You're talking about me,
Ew.
you know, ew. But it's true. They really just go above and beyond for our patients, and our patients feel that, you know, the welcomeness and how thorough they are in explaining every single thing, you know, from something as simple as saying, I'm gonna lay you back now. Just giving the patient that heads up, like, you know,
Chair's
I've
gonna
been,
be moving.
yeah, I've been
Don't.
to practices where I'm a patient and like, you know, doctor just comes in and, you know, puts me right back and I'm like, whoa, you know, and I haven't even seen what the doctor looks like. You know, doctors are coming around and they're you know,
Eye
face to
contact,
face,
yeah.
building that trust, you know, with the patient before they're even, you know, working on their mouths.
We work really hard on our handoffs too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was
So-
going to be my question, is walk me through your handoffs, because I can tell that they're good. And
Yeah.
as a hygienist, that's important to me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always trying to tie the bows. So we work really hard on our handoffs. We even from the front to the back. You know, we wear our lovely radios. So everybody on the team has a radio. So, you know, if something needs to be communicated, the message gets delivered.
Okay.
But you know, when it comes to something as simple as like when a patient walks through the door, like Tito said, say they have a wedding going on, and like the front gets to know that, well, that message gets relayed to the dental assistant. So when we're walking the patient back, we're introducing ourselves, but we're also saying, well, I heard you have a wedding going on. Who's getting married? Like, is it you? Is it, you know, a family member? What's going on? But that message, as soon as we get them, you know, in the room, all that stuff is going in their chart. And we always like to we have actually in our chart notes like a personal, it's a personal tab in the note where we add personal information from the patient to make that appointment feel more relaxed. Like if I say you're only coming once every 6 months, you know, you don't need any work, you're just coming for your cleaning. I know for a fact my brain is not good. So when I go to a doctor's office and somebody reminds me of something that happened 6 months ago, I'm like, oh my God, how did you remember that? Like, I barely even remember that.
Yeah.
But that just makes it just makes the patient feel more comfortable. Like, one, they're listening to me, you know, two, they're retaining the information they're telling me. And, you know, it's just a home, it's more of a home feeling.
So you're putting it just because I like technical, you're putting it in the journal inside the patient's notes, and there's like an extra
And then
tab
it goes
that.
into the chart.
Into the chart note.
Oh,
But we
into the chart
also
note.
Yeah.
we would also preheat the doctor,
Yeah.
you know, before, you know, we're done with the patient. Hey, I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna go get the doctor. We'll be right in. Then you're going out. You're having a conversation with the doctor. Hey, this is what's going on. This patient, or they'll 9 out of 10. They're
So
just like,
before the doctor will go into a room, they
Yep.
make sure to check with the assistant before they go in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
if they don't have the time and they're just coming in, again, they already seen a clinical note.
Mhm.
Or if it's on the hygiene side, we use Blue Note, where it's they can send a message to the doctor. Hey, doctor, ready for our periodic exam. Patient not experiencing no issues, no concerns. They'll put in a quick note, and then the doctor comes in, and it already looks like they've been preheated, so they're coming in already knowing the information. Like, hey, I hear you don't have any issues or concerns today. You have a wedding coming up. Awesome, congratulations. So that preheat and that communication and that handoff is super important, and then it transfers to the front as well, where we're verbally the clinicians, whether hygienist or the dental assistant, are bringing the patient up to the front, and they're verbally saying everything that was done for today. But they're also before the doctor leaves. Let's back up a little bit. Before the doctor leaves, he'll let the assistants know, hey, Mary has a crown that she needs to get done on that upper left side. I would love to see her back in a week. I need 2 hours for that appointment. Well, we can do a same day crown for her. Let's make sure we'll get that scheduled for her. So patients hearing it out loud, hearing the importance from the doctor of what needs to be done in the sense of priority, how long he needs, and how soon he wants to see the patient back. Then they're relaying that information to the front office when they're checking out. Hey, I've already scheduled this patient for a week because that's when the doctor wants to see him. We've gone over the finances with the patient. They need to pay a deposit, whatever the case is. You know, is there any questions that you have for me before I let you go? Now the front office has the information. We've given an opportunity for the patient to ask any additional questions, and then we can dismiss the patient, whether, collecting deposits, scheduling appointments, whatever it may be, and then taking it from there.
We like to have the patient hear it 3 times.
Yeah.
We think 3 is a good number. So
I think after 3 times of hearing it, you're retaining it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So the doctor says
sure.
it first,
Then
the
the
assistants
assistant-
reiterate it, and then the front office closes it out. And
Yeah.
that's
Right.
kind of the final step.
That's awesome.
This is really like small linguistics, but something you said there, I'd love to see them back in, instead of like, let's see if we can get them in, or like, I need to see them back. It's an interesting, just like small
Different.
linguistic
Choice
thing.
of wording. Yeah.
So something that we've learned with our consultant, can I shout her out?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
She's an advocate for dental
She's
intel,
great.
but she's amazing. Kira Dent with the
Mhm.
dental 18. She's recently done an in-office visit with us, but NDTR, next visit, time, date, recall, because that's also where we tie it as well. Are they scheduled for their next recall? So we've scheduled them for what the doctor's wanting. We're ending it with making sure that they're scheduled for their recall as well, and tying the bow as she's taught us.
We even make it easy for our team, because I know, again, information overload, it's a lot. So we make it easy. Some, NDTR, what is that? I don't know what that is. We have postcards. We have little laminated cards that we give the assistants, or we give the hygienists to where when the doctor is giving you that information, it's broken down. What's needed, time, when they want them back, and for how long, and all you have to do is like circle, and you make it really, really simple to where now that assistant has that card that they walk up to the front office when they're walking that patient out. They'll hand that to whoever, they're checking out with,
Yeah.
verbally reiterate it to them, but also give them that card to where there's no misinformation, nothing, the ball's not getting dropped anywhere. And if it is getting dropped somewhere, we have an extra step to pick it up and keep it rolling.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. I was gonna ask, when a new patient comes to your practice, are they coming through hygiene, or are they coming through the doctor's side?
We schedule doctor side first.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long do they get for that appointment?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. I just was, I'm just wondering, how long,
Yeah.
how much time, and I'm assuming all the imaging and all the stuff is
Yep.
being
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's usually, and that's strictly like an hour for the doctor.
Yeah.
That's-
Doctor,
you don't get
doctor
it-
chair time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Okay.
You don't get a cleaning at that initial visit.
Mhm.
That's a thought,
So-
that's starting to become a common theme.
So
Yeah.
Katie and I both come from practices that scheduled an hour for cleaning and new patient exam. So it's been interesting. I've lost track of how many of these we've done, 9, 10, 11, some lot.
Something. Yeah.
And every single one has said they take longer than an hour. If the cleaning is included, it's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. If the cleaning is not included, it's been an hour. And it's an interesting theme among some of our top performing practices that we just kind of stumbled upon, not intentionally.
I think for us, it's important for our providers to build that relationship with the patient, build that trust, and for the patients to feel like their time is being valued, that we're not just rushing them through. So I've worked in practices, corporate dentistry, especially, where they go through hygiene and they get the exam and everything's just rushed. And the
Yeah.
patients just start to feel like a number. So
Yeah.
we really want our patients to feel like they matter, and we're going to treat you like family. You're not just going to be a number where we're rushing you through, and now our team is just stressed out because they're rushing to get to the next patient, because now, they're super, and, they're in the chair and you diagnose SRP, but now the patient wants to get an SRP, but you only have an allotted time and you really were hoping for a prophy, but an SRP sounds great. But now it just works for us. And obviously, our numbers show it, and our patients just love building initial rapport with the patients.
You know, we understand time is money and time is valuable, but the patient's time is just as valuable as the doctor's time.
Mhm.
You know, they're here for a reason. So we need to, you know, be understanding that their time is just as valuable as well.
Well, if that's the common thread that gets people to come back more easily, gets people to accept treatment more readily, gets people to refer their friends, then that additional time that the doctor is spending with the patient is very, very well served. And I think sometimes we forget, like, you know, Katie and I have both worked in this industry for a long time. Both of you have as well. Sometimes it's really easy to forget that, like, the person that's in your chair doesn't understand anything about anything that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So like when you start just like thinking that, okay, I did the x-rays and now I'm going to tell you exactly what you need in, you know, terms that you don't understand, and I think you're going to accept that and be good with it without like giving them the clear picture and explaining it in terms that they understand, helping to build that trust. That's not the world that we live in anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that people are more skeptical now of authority or, like, you know, a medical practitioner than they have ever been. So
Yeah.
I think it's totally worth it to spend that
Yeah,
time.
and I mean, obviously it's best for the patient as well. I mean, it's best for the patient, but it's also like, I just want to get into numbers just for a second, like the bottom line. I mean, the average median production per hour, or like the actual, like how much people make it per hour for a doctor, is around $480. And so that, I mean, that's $480 of the doctor time, if they make an average. And so, but say that patient comes and then they don't ever come back, you know, because that time wasn't that, like they whatever it is that made it so they didn't come back. But so you're making that up by their next visit, if not, you know, so quick that loss in production time, because then you don't have to find another new patient to replace that one. So, or you know, if they actually need work, even if they don't need any work and they just come for cleaning and a checkup twice a year, it's worth it.
It's, I mean, having a patient for life is just, you know, and our patients say that, you know, you look at our reviews, they say it all the time, I'm a patient for life. And it's because we're listening to them and we're not, you know, getting them overwhelmed. It could be an overwhelming treatment plan, but going back to doing things in bite sizes. Hey, this is overwhelming. Let's just address one thing at a time. Let's take it in phases. Let's do it in bite sizes. Let's do what's most important before it gets worse. Take care of those, and then we just go into phases.
Yeah, really.
So it opens up the opportunity to uncover treatment that wouldn't be uncovered in just a necessity exam, right? Like, when I've got someone in the chair, I do full mouth x-rays, and then I say, okay, obviously I can diagnose any issues going on in the mouth, but giving longer to create that relationship and let them express what their goals are also uncovers a lot of opportunity that I might not, in that shorter exam time that's crunched in with a cleaning, even get to, right? Like
as cosmetic or issues.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like
So, you know, for a long time I've been told, well, you have great teeth, you know, you have straight teeth. And I had one tooth that just really bothered me, and I got clear correct for it, right? And
so did I.
but someone wouldn't.
So did I.
No one ever said, like, hey, that tooth kind of sticks out. Like, does that bother you? I had to like vocalize that. But if I'm in a conversation with the dentist and he's like, hey, you know, here's where you're at, here's what your mouth looks like, tell me what your goals are, I would have readily offered that up and just said, hey, you know, nothing hurts. You know, I hardly ever have decay. This tooth though bothers me. And that's something that, like I said, wouldn't come up in just a lay you back, take the x-rays, here's what you need.
Making a diagnosis of what's obvious. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I feel like I need to go get some more orthodontic work. 'Cause just kidding. I've had it 3 times. My dad did orthodontics,
Woo!
and I just showed up one day when I was 12, and he just put them on, and I like didn't get it. I just left with. I thought I was getting a cleaning, and I left with braces. I was so pissed. I
Oh
was,
my God.
it was the worst.
My son thinks the fact that he doesn't have braces yet, he's 9.
Oh,
Like
no.
he's like, so many people in my class have braces. Like, why doesn't my orthodontist say I need
It's the
braces?
thing
I'm
to
like,
do. I
Yeah.
have no idea how it went from being like a horrible thing. You were
Now
bullied
it's
for
phased.
having it
Yeah.
to now. Like my sister's
Yeah.
the same way. She's like, I need to get braces. Dad is taking forever to take me. I'm like, listen, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, well, I want to talk a little bit about how you guys, I mean, it's nice to do the work, but it's even better to get paid for the work that you do. So let's talk a little bit about collections. Your AR ratio, so it means the time in which the days in which you, from when you get paid, from when you do the work to when you get paid. So through the insurance cycle, through all of it, is 0.6. So that's, or sorry, 22 days. So AR ratios, blip, blip. Guys, I know what I'm talking about. I promise, guys. Your AR days are 22. That's the definition that I just gave you is AR days. And the ratio is for how many dollars you have out is how many dollars is how many dollars you're collecting, and that's 0.6. So both of those numbers are fantastic. 22 days, we say like 40 days is good. So like to get paid less than a month on the things that you're doing is great. So first of all, I mean, do you participate with insurance companies? I guess is
Yes.
okay. So
that's
so
phenomenal.
that's phenomenal.
We had 22 days with
Yeah.
in network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we'll see, 14 days, 10 days, and they're just out of network altogether. So that really is great. So walk us through your method of collecting money from patients when they're, or insurance, if you've got, getting paid.
So we present patients with a treatment plan, and our treatment plan is very thorough in the sense that it has a disclaimer at the bottom of the treatment plan that explains this is just an estimate from the insurance. It's not a guarantee of payment. And we like to go over the bottom line of what the entire portion is without it being the patient out of pocket. So we'll tell them this is your out of pocket, this is what we're going to collect from you now. But if the insurance does not pay, this is what you're responsible for. So they know that they're not going to be surprised that if they get an invoice or we're reaching out like, hey, this is your remainder balance, it's an easier conversation because they are aware of it. But we do everything in our power when we're submitting claims. We've learned the tricks of the insurances and why they, the things that they request. So we send overload information. I will send an FMX. I will send a perio chart. We send intraoral photos. If they want a blood sample, we're going to collect it and we're going to send it. Like
we're kidding, but it feels so true.
Yeah. During COVID, we saw one of the TikTok videos where the doctor was like bored in his practice and he was just like pretending he was putting like bloody gauze inside and he was calculus and he's just like into an envelope to send it to the insurance.
Oh my god!
Just to get a check.
But it's so true, and we literally will send everything possible, clinical notes to serve as narratives. Our doctors and our dental assistants are amazing and writing detailed notes. When we do a crown, they're asking the patient if it's a replacement. How old was that initial crown? They're putting that in the notes. So there's no reason for the insurance to come back, barely ever, with us having to submit an appeal because we're providing that information upfront. There's no reason for them to not pay it. And if they do, we're working on it right away to make sure that we're contacting the patient. And the way we contact the patient is we contact the patient first. We have the patient reach out to their insurance and have them do a 3-way with us. Because insurances will act, say one thing to the patient, but tell us another thing. So we'll have the patient request a 3-way call. We get on a call. We know the questions to ask. We know how the insurance is going to respond. So now the patient's hearing the way the insurance is responding, so they know it's not our fault. Your insurance is acting a little cuckoo and doesn't want to pay. So then when it comes down to the insurance not paying, they know that it's just the insurance acting however they want to act. And then they readily and easily will just pay the balance, to us. Again, we don't always make it the patient's responsibility right away. We do everything in our power to do an appeal or anything that we need to do and submit the information that we have to. But when it comes down to, we'll have the patient, put it back on the patient. This is your plan. This is your premiums that you're paying. They're going to listen to you more than what they're going to listen to us and tell you the best response. And we just take, every phone call we have with the insurance when it comes to that, name, date, time of the call, reference numbers, and we're putting all of that into the claims. And then we're just following up. When there's balances, we follow up. The moment you have a balance, you're getting an invoice. And it kind of like, it's a 2-2 system, but we follow up in 10 days. If in 10 days I'm going to call you, hey, did you receive that invoice? Do you have any questions regarding the balance? Is there any way that I can help you, figure this out so that we can get the balance paid? If they don't pay at that moment, then from the initial date that I send the invoice, now I'm going to send you a 30-day notice. It's going to be a beautiful letter in white paper. It's going to say your balance is 30 days past due. And 30 days beyond that, you're getting a yellow paper. Hey, your balance is now 60 days past due. Then you get a red paper and it's 90 days past due and it has a stamp on it. Final notice. After the 90 days, I'm following up 10 days from that point and I'm calling the patient myself. Hey, your account was sent over to me to be sent to collections. This does not feel right to send it to collections. What can I do? What can I do to help you? So now I'm acting as a collection agency. And even if I take half of the payment, it's better than nothing.
Than none.
And now I didn't send you to collections. I'm always going to start at like 70%, bring it down to 50. But, it's just showing compassion. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to work with you. Let's figure this out. If patients are just like, I'm not going to pay it, I do whatever you want to do, then we have to do what we have to do and send them to collections. But it's a follow-up system, and you have to be consistent in following through with the patients and letting them know, like, hey, we've given you all the tools, we've educated you that this is your balance and you're responsible for it. And 9 out of 10, they will pay and they're receptive of it. Sometimes, we have to go the hard route, but we're just consistent in making sure we're following through in that manner.
Yeah. There's a one thing that really stuck out to me, and it's not one that I've actually heard of in practice doing, which is a 3-way call with an insurance company. There's some consultants out there that would say, like, it's not your responsibility to be the patient's advocate when it comes to insurance. Like, they should, it's their insurance, it's their responsibility. They should be taking care of it. But that obviously, I mean, the way that you're handling it in your practice shows that you're getting claims or you're getting payment fulfilled way sooner by doing it the way that you're doing it. It reminds me of, I have one of my best friends. She works at a cancer center and she's an insurance advocate. This is what she does all day long. Is she has the patient there and the insurance company, and they work together to get things paid. And so that's really kind of what you're doing. The medical field's been doing that for a long time. And so, which doesn't surprise me because you come from a medical background.
Yeah.
It's probably like, well, duh, why wouldn't we do this in dentistry?
Yeah. It works like a charm, and it really, when the patients see how difficult an insurance company can be, when their time comes to renew, every patient of ours that comes through the door, whether they have insurance or not, they know about our dental membership plan. They have flyers, we have posters everywhere. So when their time for renewal comes, they start asking, hey, tell me about the dental membership plan, because I don't think I'm going to renew with the insurance. And I say, beautiful. Now it's going to be a relationship between you and us. No missing tooth clause, no waiting periods, no ifs, ands, or buts, nothing we have to submit to the insurance. Is just straightforward. And it's a beautiful thing. We have over 400 active patients on our membership plan with a year of doing it. And it's just a beautiful thing.
Oh, you started 1 year ago. That's really awesome. I forgot what I was just going to say. Really, it's fantastic that you're able to, be at a 22-day AR with all of the things. And thank you so much for going through each step. For some people might be like, whatever, but I know a lot of people that would, cut off their right arm to have to be 22 days out. Yeah. So, and you guys don't have a lot of 90 days past because of your follow-up. I love that. 222, even with collections follow-ups. Well,
Yeah.
this has been like a wicked fast hour. Like I could talk
Yes.
for another hour. And we talked, and we're going to talk a little bit about automation, but, one thing that we have to talk about is your no-show rate. Why are people showing up to their appointment? Because because your no-show rate is so low.
The same way we hold our team accountable, we hold our patients accountable. We have a very extensive office financial policy and office agreement that is very thorough. And we really stride on making sure that our patients understand it. That if they are 10 minutes late to their appointment, we will have to reschedule and an open chair fee will apply. Anything over an hour, we collect a deposit for. If you don't give 48-hour notice of rescheduling, unfortunately, you lose that deposit. We reiterated to the patient from the front, to the clinical side, to conversations on the phone when we're reminding them of their appointment. It's on the automated text message that they receive as well, confirming the appointment. So they have enough time and enough notice to cancel with notice of 48 hours or rescheduling. If not, there is a penalty to it. And we, hold it true. If there's a dire emergency, of course, we are understanding of those things. And we will waive that fee. But, when we changed the word from cancellation fee to open chair fee, patients started to understand something different.
It goes back to, like I said earlier, we hold ourselves accountable to stay on time for them because we know their time's valuable. We have to make the culture in our office, make our patients aware that just because we think your time's valuable, you have to value our time as well.
Yeah. And you have to value the patient behind you's time.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what we educate them on. Now it's an open chair that we could have reserved for someone else who is waiting. They're waiting months for if it's a new patient, they're waiting out until now January for a new patient appointment. So now you didn't show up. It's an open chair that could have been for someone else. And their time is valuable. And if you show up late, you have to understand that 10 minutes makes a big difference. A minute over 10 minutes, now that's taking away from the next patient that's scheduled, after you.
Yeah.
Yep.
January, new patients in January. I'm excited for you guys to have that second location. Wow.
Yes.
Jeez Louise. Well, we asked the same question to every single guest that comes on the show, and it's because growth means a lot to dental intelligence, and it means something different to everyone. So what does growth in dentistry mean to you? And you can answer it together or by yourselves, whatever you want to do.
Growth in dentistry for me, in the years that I have been doing it, has just been growing as an individual. Dentistry has showed me so much skills to be where I am today. And I've been fortunate to have amazing mentors in my life. I go back to when I first started dentistry. I was a crappy employee. I was young, I was partying, I made up every reason to call out. And then I lost my grandmother and I went into deep depression and anxiety. So I went through a lot, and to be where I am today, because of my career in dentistry is rewarding to see that growth. And that's what drives me forward to treat the practice as if it was my own, and to take it to where we are today. And that's just, rewarding. That's what growth means to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Piggybacking off of what he said, I'm a little biased because when I started in dentistry, I did my externship here and I got hired at this office. I've only ever worked in this office. So
you got lucky.
I know. So I can't really, compare other than where I went for my dentistry work, which was also a very great office up in Jersey. So, I'm lucky because my boss, he invests in us and he pushes us and, stands behind us and backs us up, gives us everything that we need to grow. And constructive criticism back when I first started, good luck. I was a completely different person in that aspect. You cannot talk to me and tell me what I did wrong, because I would get upset with you. I beat myself up. So coming just from when I started 6 years ago to where I am now, constructive criticism like doesn't bother me anymore. Like I want it because I know that it's just going to help me in the end more than anything else. So, but like just growth in general, like we're opening this new office, you know, starting here in this practice when there was just 5 of us to now having 22 employees and opening another office on top of it, like growth, seeing this practice and seeing where Dr. Bouchel was and where he's going, that's
exciting.
That's enough in itself, you know, like it's crazy just to grow the practice like that and have been able to see it grow like that.
Yeah.
Just a proud moment for me. When I came on board here and became the office manager.
We can leave this out.
Nicole was not a fan of mine. And we had a lot of struggles to get through and a lot of hurdles, but I seen so much of myself in her with the potential that she can be. And I always told her this, like, I see myself in you and where I started dentistry. And you can hate me now, but one day we're gonna like each other. And here we are sitting on this podcast, doing this together, talking about our success together, where I would have never thought in the beginning that we would be sitting here next to each other, you know, supporting each other, me putting her on my leadership team. That's growth, you know, to be where we are.
It's huge. It really is huge
it's
for us.
huge, yeah.
That was a big hurdle to get over, but we both overcame it, you know. It was huge.
Wow.
And it's kind of something that we learned in our a speech in the ADOM conference last year. As leaders, we have to leave that ladder down. Allow your team to grow, to climb that ladder with you. And when I heard that, I was like, I looked at them because I took them with me and it was their first conference. And I said, I'm going to leave that ladder down and I'm going to let you guys climb up with me. Let's do it together.
Wow. They're so good. Wow. Seriously, you guys are a great team. And I'm going to give the, let you share your information if people want to reach out, because if anybody listens to this and you're wanting an idea or just someone to talk through like how to make it better, you call Nicole and Tito, because my gosh, they've got some good information to share with you. So would you be willing to share how people can get in touch with you?
My email here at the practice is tito.albino, so tito.albino, ALBINO, at clermontdentist.com, and Clermont is plural, so CLERMONTSDENTIST.com.
Perfect.
Or you can text me, call me, I don't care, 352-888-0932.
Yeah, same with me. My email is Nicole, NICOLE, at clermontdentist.com. Same, CLERMONTS, dentist, DENTIST.com. And then you can call me or shoot me a text message as well. My number is 973-270-4575. Did you want to give the office phone number in case they can't reach us? Or
yeah,
that's up to you guys. But our office phone number is 352-242-1763. And you can either ask for Tito or myself.
Okay. I'll make sure that that information gets in our show notes. Thank you for being so willing to share yourselves with those around. It really does take, and as I talked to you before to get you guys even to say yes to the show, the goal with this is to really just highlight the people that are like in it, that have their sleeves rolled up and they're getting the job done. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
This has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. Thank you to our marketing department for all their work on this podcast. Thank you, Adam, for joining me. I'm Katie Polson. Keep growing.